Becoming popular online was kind of an accident, but it's been a saving grace in terms of helping me develop a routine. Maybe you're more disciplined than me, but I can't seem to get anything done ever, even things that I supposedly enjoy. Not surprisingly, once people started following me and expecting updates, I felt a lot more motivation to draw and keep up a routine. My hobby slowly morphed into an obligation, but not like a super painful obligation, but rather an obligation that helped me to stay a bit more on track with my art. Because I started drawing a lot more, I realized that I've been drastically improving. Even just between these two sketchbooks, I feel confident that I've grown in terms of style, technique, and confidence in making art. It also gets me away from watching the 100th YouTube video a day and instead has me doing something at least a little more productive. This next piece is Aviary and Ariana Grande, both in cookie jar costumes, and a lot of this work is just very self-indulgent, fun work, featuring things that I like. Honestly, the best way to get good at drawing is to draw a lot, and I find the best way to draw a lot is 1, to start posting on social media, and 2, to just draw things you enjoy so that you feel motivated to continue making art. In a lot of my paintings, I really enjoy using metallic inks, like this metallic gold ink. I just think they create a really pretty shimmer and just bring a piece to life. This sort of purpley rainbow hair is actually some of my favorite. You see it in the last piece as well. It's just a really fun way to use a lot of colors. This following piece was actually really fun because I used gouache instead of watercolor, and it allowed me to get really vibrant matte colors and also work with lighting a lot more like I do digitally. I didn't quite finish it, but it was a really fun experiment. Around this time, I also really got into drawing little scenes for music videos with full backgrounds, and it let me practice doing more than just a portrait. So here we have Blackpink's new music video. I returned to Copic markers with this piece, and I really enjoyed coloring it in just because they make such smooth, clean gradients, especially on darker skin. And I really liked the colors, the purples and the blues and the greens all together. And after that is actually one of my favorite pieces in the sketchbook. I just fell in love with painting water. And I kind of screwed up the face the first time, but I ended up working on it with gouache, and I was able to fix it and save it, and now it's one of my favorites. One thing I've noticed over the years of posting things online, mistakes are way easier to spot once something's up and you can't edit it. It's kind of like magic, a sort of painful, torturous magic where you see everything you need to improve only once you can't change it. I won't lie, recognizing mistakes in your art is rough, especially when random strangers will sometimes share their opinions on whether or not you're failing. My only advice for dealing with this is to take a break and remind yourself that if you feel bad and start comparing yourself to others, whatever you see people sharing is very rarely their bad work and almost always a carefully curated collection of only the best. I mean, look at this. In the case of this sketchbook, it's pretty obvious that I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Not to say I'm perfect at art, but rather these drawings aren't the typical kind you'd find in sketchbooks. I do have rarely seen sketchbooks filled with actual sketches and mistakes and spilled paint and all the other things that happen when you draw. But with these sketchbooks in particular, whether you see it as a positive or a negative thing, they're just so cute and they make me want to make these little mini illustrations instead of rough doodles. And I guess it has the added bonus of always being photo ready and perfect for social media. Lately, my resolution is to continue these small, complete drawings, but also try to keep a sketchbook that I can use more loosely and freely so that I can work on experimenting with technique and growing as an artist. On a sort of tangent, have I mentioned that I really love glitter? I love to add sparkly little things to all my drawings, like on this tail. I added little hearts and stars to make everything a little more fun. Besides what I use for my sketchbook, I often get asked what my favorite supplies are. Even though I've been drawing pretty much since forever, I'm willing to admit I know very little about art supplies, and I either buy what I'm told, what is cheapest, or whatever I see my current favorite artist using. I'm that person, the overly susceptible one that companies are hoping for when they give products to artists to show off and sing praises about. I'm also just really love buying art supplies. They have the same kind of vibe as office supplies, the illusion of productivity. The only thing better than actually getting stuff done is buying things to get stuff done and then feeling like you did half the work already, so you deserve a cookie, or ice cream, or both. And despite the clear disclaimer of I have no clue what I'm doing half of the time, you probably still want to know what I use. So here it is, take notes. For watercolors I use, well, not actually watercolors. Technically they're Gonzai paints, which are, according to a YouTube video I watched one time, some kind of Japanese relative to watercolors. They use a different binding agent, which makes them very easy to lift, but also very pigmented. For someone who likes bright colors and makes 5,000 mistakes every piece, they're kind of a godsend. And they're not even that expensive, so that's a plus. Coming from a family that also hoards art supplies, my brush choice tends to be any round synthetic brush I can get my hands on. The only brush I know by name and adore is my Grumbacher 000 brush that I use for lining, but I've also never tried a lining brush before, so maybe I should before I go recommending things. Either way, it works for me. For white highlights, I use both Sakura Jelly Roll white pen and Montana acrylic pen. My favorite part of drawings is usually adding the shiny highlights on lips that make them look all glossy. When I do close-up paintings of lips, I tend to go even more overboard with these highlights, just for my own personal satisfaction. Other than these three things, I also like using my collection of Copic markers. I've been told many times that I use watercolors like markers, so it stands to reason that I'd enjoy using markers as well. In the first sketchbook, I used very few Copics, but by the end, I improved a lot and went on to use it a lot in my second sketchbook. Color selection with markers may be more limited, but the smooth, precise look is so nice. The final supply I've been really into lately is using washi tape. My mom is really into them, so I just took a bunch of hers and started hiding them in my drawings. In my drawing of Khan, I think I used 13 different tapes. It's a really easy and fun way to add patterns without having to draw them, and who doesn't love an easy way of doing things? This very last thing that you're seeing now is one of my work in progress pieces that I'll eventually get around to finishing. After that, you see a couple more blank pages, and that is the end of this sketchbook. I can't wait to finish it, and I'm looking forward to sharing more drawings with you. I want to give a special thanks to Mossery for reaching out to me to do this video with them, and I hope to see you guys next time, potentially with more videos in the future. And if you want to keep up with me across the internet, make sure to check out the links on the screen. I hope you had fun watching this, and I'll see you around.